Colletti, Colletti. I live at Oak Beach. And
And what do you think about today's search?
today's conference, I think it's an act to try to keep everybody happy and informed about what's happening, which is nothing.
Do you believe they're going to find Shannon Gilbert?
No, I don't think they will. I believe she's in the water. I don't believe that she's part of this search and recovery at all.
You were one of the last people to see Shannon. She knocked on your door. What are your feelings on that? Do you feel you could have done something else, or wish you did something else?
Oh, I wish I did. As I've said before, normally, my house is the first house as you come into the association. So normally the people come knock on my door. I keep gas in my garage just for people that run out of gas during the week. And normally I help somebody. It just happened that morning that she knocked on my door. My wife and I were going to a car show up in Rhinebeck, New York, and we were getting ready to leave. So when she knocked on my door and was screaming for help, first thing I thought to do was to pick up the phone and call 911, which I did. When I informed her, I called the police. They were on their way. She panicked and ran down the steps and was looking for some place to hide. And the rest is history, as you know. She ran around the gatehouse and ran down towards the water, and that was the last we've seen of her. I went to the gatehouse and stood there and waited for the police to come, and I let them in and showed them what direction that she ran in. And that was the last time I saw her. Could I have done something? Yeah, normally I would have sat her down and tried to help her, but when she was screaming for help and she was a little unstable on her feet, I said it was time for me to call the police and make sure, let them do their job.
The fact that this investigation started with your encounter, what's going through your mind now?
I wish I didn't answer the door.
You're not serious about that?
No.
Okay. But what's going to, it started with you, and here they are. They still haven't been able to find the person you saw.
Well, they got a slow start. You have to realize they went from May 1st until the middle of August before they showed up at the police department. And at that time, it was only a missing persons detective that said that just came over to teletype and they were looking for her. That was 4 months later. But from the time that she knocked on my door until then, nothing that I know of was done.
So what do you think's going on? Do you think the police are missing something?
Oh, I don't know. I'm sure they're trying. Somewhere in the transition between New Jersey notifying them out here and them actually pursuing the investigation took 4 months.
New Jersey?
Well, originally, the missing person report had to be filed in Jersey, where she came from, and it wasn't done.
But they're out here, they're searching, and they're through helicopters, going through the underbrush, all of this stuff. They come up with very, very little lately. What do you make of that?
Well, if they're looking for Gilbert, they're not going to find her. I think she's in the water. That's my opinion. I know where the last place she was seen, and that was by the water. I also know that she didn't know how to swim. She was from upstate. And I know what the inlet is like. A good swimmer can't make it in there when the tide changes. Yeah. So if she fell in the water or was chased and she ran into the water, she's gone.
But most people end up in the water, end up on land at some point.
Somewheres they wash up. And usually 24 hours later, when the body fills up with gas, they come to the top.
All right. And?
I'm familiar with that. But nobody looked for her then. Nobody even gave that a thought.
First and last name, please. Your first and last name.
My first and last name? It's Gus Colletti. Colletti.
Gus, what are your thoughts on the 1-year anniversary of this? It's been exactly almost a year since they found remains, and they're back out again today.
Do I think they're going to find? I don't think. First off, I disagree with the commissioner of police. I think it's two people. you're going to find two. And I don't think that Shannon Gilbert had anything to do with what the bodies they found here. That's just my opinion. I'm not an expert, trust me.
In your role, you called 911. You were
Yes, I did.
after. Can you just describe to us? I think most people know here, but what your role in this was? You called.
She was pounding on my door yelling for help. Help me, help me, help me. I came to the door, I opened the door, and she stepped in. And she just stood there yelling, help me, and she had trouble standing on her feet. She was a little wobbly. And I realized that she had a problem, and I wasn't going to be able to solve it, so I called 911 right away. As soon as I told her I called the police, they were on their way, she took off again.
That's the last anyone's ever seen her.
Yes.
Gus, what's your reaction? What do you think happened to these tapes that are supposedly missing?
They were wiped clean.
Well, who do you think wiped them clean and why?
I think Charlie Sirota did. And why? Because they were like 2 months old at the time. Nobody had asked for them. We, in the association down there, didn't even know that a crime had been committed. Don't forget, this was May 1st that she was banging on my door, and it was August before the police showed up at my door.
Gus, the police commissioner said that he doesn't think that Shannon was killed by the same serial killer. You agree with that part?
Yep.
Why?
Because I think Sharon was chased, and I think she ran out on one of the jetties, and I think she lost her balance because the condition she was in, and she went in the water. If she went in the water and didn't know how to swim, it was only 2 minutes, and
So
it was
it's
over.
It's just a coincidence that she.
Yes, it was.
Craigslist, same area. All you believe in those coincidences?
Yep.
Okay.
Gus, the name Dr. Hackett comes up a lot out here.
Yes, he's one of my best friends.
So you don't think he's a possible suspect?
Absolutely not. Let me ask you something.
You look
If you were a murderer and you killed somebody, would you dump them on your front lawn? Nobody from in here dumped anybody out there.
I came up a little bit late, just you
A lot
probably
late.
already said. Well, I was gonna wait until they were done, and then more and more people came, and I thought, oh, I better just come.
That's
But
all right.
just one more. Just what do you think about that they're here again, searching today for clues?
Well, I think that they had to respond to the press and the pressure they were under to do something. You know, it's 1 year anniversary is from when they found the first body. It's coming up on the 11th, so they had to do something. People were looking for answers.
So
I don't think we accomplished anything, but
you think it's good that they at least tried, or you just I think it's a waste of time? It was just sort of like
I
public
think it
pressure
was a
type
waste of
thing?
time. Yes, I do.
Thank you.
You can have
Excellent job.